Is buying a Supra boat a good decision? Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to Supra. So first up, let's talk about Supra, where they came from and what they do. So Supra's been around for quite a while. They're actually the higher end boat brand that is offered by Skier's Choice, which is the parent company for both Supra Boats as well as Moomba Boats, which is their subline. Kind of think Malibu versus Axis, Centurion versus Supreme, or even like Toyota and Lexus as an example. So Supra is the higher end of the two, with Moomba being on the lower end side. And they're based in Tennessee, is where they've been built for quite some time. And they're actually a really great boat company. They've been building boats for a lot of years, and they do a really good job. Now, Supra does some really interesting things with their models. They break down their sizes, so they do like a 20, 21 and a half, 22 and a half, 23 and a half, etc. boat. But rather than calling them by the numbers, they give them specific monikers such as SL, SA, SE, etc. They also do a very interesting thing with their model designators, in which they put a number afterwards, but instead of referring to the length, it's actually referring to the size of the engine. So they have like a 400, a 450, and a 500, and these are not designating the size of the boat, but rather designating effectively the horsepower, though we'll find that that's not actually really the case, but basically designating the motor size, with 400 being the smaller engine, the 450 being the actually a Raptor 440 motor, and then a 550 being the Raptor 575. So with Supra, you're going to have letters that are going to designate the size of the boat, and then numbers that designate the size of the engine, which actually can be nice, particularly if you're looking at a used one. You can determine what size motor is in that boat very quickly and easily just by looking at the model name. Now, one thing that's important to note when it comes to Supra is Supra actually doesn't have different model lines within the Supra brand. It's just basically one line, one series of boats that just come in different sizes. So you have like the SA, which comes in at just over 22 feet, and you have the SL, which comes in a little over 23 feet. And they're really similar boats, and they have some differences, but they're really similar models, and they basically share the same bloodline. They're just different sizes. And so Supra has 4 sizes of boats, all of which basically sit within the same line. They're just different sizes when it comes down to each model. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, Supra it comes from Skier's Choice, which is a great boat company. They're also kind of interesting because they're a little bit more of a boutique company. They're a little bit smaller than other brands such as Malibu, Mastercraft, and Nautique. They don't build nearly as many boats. And the really interesting thing is they're kind of okay with that. They build a smaller number of units, and they have opportunities to sell more, but they typically don't really take advantage of it. They just decide to build a certain number of units, and they seem to be okay with that. But what they do is they build a good quality product for a decent value and overall have a really good offering. So let's break down and talk about the top 5 reasons why you may want to purchase a Supra, as well as the top 5 reasons why you may not want to purchase a Supra. First, let's talk about the reasons why you may potentially want to buy a Supra boat. Reason number 1, creature comforts that are available on the boat. Supra does a really great job at putting different amenities and creature comforts throughout the cockpit of the boat that are just really nice for any passengers that are riding inside of it. Whether that be a screen over on the passenger side to control the stereo, the lighting, and even things like the heater, or whether it's things such as flip around seat options for the bow. The creature comforts that are available in Supras are typically a step above a lot of other boats in their same class. They focus and do a really nice job on making some of the different interior layout and design elements extra nice for different passengers in the boat. Number 2, innovation and design. Now, I alluded to this when it came to creature comforts, but really Supra Boats has done a very nice job of being really innovative in some of their design elements with what they've integrated in with the boats. As an example, their new tower design has integrated speakers within the sides of the tower that give you a really nice, crisp surround sound experience for people that are inside of the boat. This is just one of the examples, along with a lot of the other different creature comfort elements, that show that they're really trying to innovate and change and design and keep their boats at the top level when it comes to the overall available feature set. that is existing within their boat line. They're an innovative company, and in an area where there's some other different brands that have gotten really stale in their designs and in their new feature set, Supra has been able to stay at the top of the list, mainly just because of some of the new innovative features that the company continues to come up with. Number 3 reason is the wakeboard wake. Supra has shown time and time again that they have a boat that can build a fantastic pro-level wakeboard wake that keeps right up there with the top dogs in the game. Supra builds a great wakeboard boat because of their running surface that is a little bit flatter hull design that allows for a really balanced approach when it comes to a wakeboard wake. You combine that with the ballast that's in the boat, and you end up with a great wakeboard wake for all ability levels, particularly for guys at the really high-end set. It's generally considered that Supra is in the top 3 discussion when it comes to the best wakeboard wakes out there for pro-level riders, and it's one of the reasons why they are the official towboat of the Pro Wakeboard Tour. So if you're looking for a killer wakeboard wake, a Supra is not a bad choice at all. Number 4, the surf performance on the boat, particularly when it is fully dialed in. Supra does a great job at creating a surf wave, and in particular, if you spend the extra time and effort and energy to get the boat really dialed in and set up, it's got one of the best surf waves that's out there. It does a much better job than many other different surf boats in their same class. The key is you just need to add a little bit of extra weight into the boats in order to make it so that they can surf at the elite level, unless you're having a really large number of people that go in the boats when you're out there surfing in them. But fine-tuned and dialed in the right way, Supra boats throw one of the best surf waves out there on the market. Reason number 5 to buy a Supra is just the company setup. They're a really well-run company. They do a great job, and they'll do things such as give you great coverage and great service and overall great warranty. Now, this is obviously going to depend on what dealer you have and how good the dealer quality is, but if you got the right dealer, Supra is going to back you up and do a good job taking care of you because they're just a stand-up company. They do a great job in a space where there's a lot of other manufacturers that may not do quite as good of a job in supporting their end consumers. Now that I've hit on those and talked about that, let's talk about the top 5 reasons you may not necessarily want to buy a Supra. Reason number 1, the rough water ride. Supra boats do a great job at a lot of things, such as the wakeboard wake and a lot of the different creature comforts. On the downside, they really don't ride through rough water very well. Most of this is due to the really flat hull shape, but they're going to bounce and slap across the water more than some other boats that are out there. They're just not going to do a great job at handling rough water and deal with a lot more spray typically than many other boats. So you're going to deal with more spray if it's windy or choppy than you will on some other surf boats that are out there. As well as if you're dealing with big waves and big open water, you're going to have a little bit more of a slapping, pounding effect compared to other different surf boats that are in the market. Number 2, the engines. Now, there's nothing wrong with the reliability on the motors that Supra runs. Inmar engines are great overall designs, and they do a really good job, and they don't have any reliability problems. That being said, the downside to them is they are running an overhead cam design, which means they're going to run a higher RPM range while you're doing things such as wake surfing, and they're going to be significantly louder. This is one factor that we end up hearing time and time again, is that they're really loud when people go out and use them, and it's mainly just because they're running a lot higher RPMs in order to get the power that they need in order to adequately throw a surf wave. Number 3, auto wake. Auto wake is a unique feature on Supras, and it could be a great example of unique innovation from a boat company. Unfortunately, just about nobody actually really uses it that are avid surfers, primarily because they just get really poor results. You're way better off to set it up manually and run the boat without any kind of auto wake features or engagement. If they're able to tweak and fine tune a few things, it might turn into a really cool, innovative, awesome system. Unfortunately, it's one that just about nobody actually really uses, and it goes from being a huge benefit to actually being a negative. Number 4, as far as a con goes, is the need for additional ballast. Now, the Supra boats, as I mentioned, can throw a phenomenal surf wave. The biggest downside is you need to add quite a bit of additional ballast in order to get it to throw the same surf wave that some other brands can throw just straight out of the box. If you want to get an elite level surf wave out of a boat such as a Supra SE550, you're going to need to add anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 pounds of additional weight on top of the stock ballast in order to get it to throw an adequate surf wave. This is because of a combination of things such as the hull design, the surf system, and a bunch of other elements that just really need more of the boat down deep into the water to throw out an adequate wave. Once it's set up properly, the wave behind a Supra is phenomenal, but you're going to need to pack in extra ballast, which typically means you're going to need to trailer around a lot of extra weight, such as lead or steel weight, as you're traveling around. If you've got your boat on a lift and the lift can support it, this may not be a big deal. But if you're towing it around on a trailer, that's a lot of extra wear and tear that's going to be done on your wheels, tires, axles, brakes, all of that different stuff, just to tow around some extra weight so you can have a better surf wave. The number 5 reason to not buy a Supra is actually kind of an interesting one, and that is that it's just not really the best at anything. It's a great surf boat, it's a great wakeboard boat, it's a great overall fit and finish and well-designed boat. However, there are other boats in every single one of those categories that will outperform it. When it comes to wakeboard performance, a Nautique is going to do a better job. When it comes to some of the interior design features, there's multiple other companies such as Mastercraft or Nautique that will do a superior job to Supra. When it comes to surf performance, Centurion beats it hands down. So what it comes down to is it's a great overall boat. However, it's not the best boat at any one particular element. And this is one thing that's kind of held Supras back for a little while, is that many times they get lost to where, depending on what you really care about when you're looking for a boat, there may be a boat that is better suited for your needs. So it's a great overall boat. It's a great overall design. They're fantastic and people really enjoy them. However, there's other different boat brands that are out there that are going to do a superior job to Supra in just about every single category. So the question is this the best list when it comes to the pros and cons of Supra boats? Comment below and let us know exactly what you think. And don't forget to check out BoardCo.com for more information.